Hello friends, I'm Nukebrush and today I'm building armored recovery vehicle, the Atlan.
Time to go nuclear.
I received this model already printed. Before assembly I cleaned up marks from the print supports and installed magnets on the coarse bolter and crane. Assembly is not difficult, there are not so many parts and they fit together perfectly. The model is good in itself, but I still decided to add my own chain, which I found in the model stock, and a crane hook, also assembled from bits found. To install the chain I marked and drilled a through hole in the body piece, the exit of which was made in a structurally provided place. I will install additional components almost at the end of the painting. Now we can prime the model. Reliable grey nitro primer Mr. Surfacer 1000 smoothes out micro steps formed during model printing. Priming the model not only provides base for paintwork, but also reveals defects that need to be corrected. There are not many of such imperfections and I easily sealed them with liquid putty Mr. Surfacer 500, then I sanded them and applied a base primer again. The tank tracks are part of the hull, so as usual I paint them first, then mask them and then apply base color. The tank chassis is painted rusty brown using brown oxide primer. Then, to give the tracks a worn look, I apply various paint to imitate old and new rust. I dilute the paint with plain water, so after drying it leaves uneven spots. This is exactly the effect I need. When I'm satisfied with the result, I can start brightening tracks with bare metal colors. I use dry brush and metallic paints, gunmetal and light metal. So, as you can see, the shine of metallic paints on rusty tracks creates an effect of usage and wear. Now let's start applying the main color. As a base I use matte grey color grey base, onto which I applied shadows with dark paint Dunkelgrau shadow. On top of the shadows we successively apply highlights with grey light base and grey highlight paints. These paints combine the light color with the base and the applied shadows, and also help with the formation of zenith lighting. Such approach means that the brightest places should be at the top of the model and on the most protruding parts. It is time to take a brush and use grey shine paint to highlight the elements of the jointing and decoration, rivets, bolted connections and other edges. This is time-consuming work, but in this way we also emphasize the contrast between shadowed and illuminated areas. Also, do not forget about removable parts, crane beams and coarse bolter. Let's now work on the unpainted parts of the model. First of all, I pay my attention to metal parts. Using steel color, I paint the crane, technical grills, elements of the back gauge, bolter detailing, different hinges and steps. Exhaust pipes and elements of the crane beam are painted with shadow rust color, so they will create nice and rusty base for forthcoming weathering work. The basic things are done, and now I can remove the masks from tracks and apply large markings using handmade stencils. As usual, I glue regular tape on top of plain paper with pattern, over which masking tape is glued. Using fresh sharp blade is a must to cut out the stencil without issues. I glue the prepared mask on place and then seal the surrounding area around it to avoid accidental overspray. For the base color I chose the grey base paint, and the final white color will be achieved with the paint set in white. I think that lenses are one of those places on a sci-fi model that can and should attract attention. On this tank, in addition to the triplexes of the command cupola and the optics of the coarse bolter, I also decided to highlight the decorative elements on the crane reel. According to my idea, these are the monitors for measuring the footage of the used chain, so they also need to be painted in the appropriate colors for subsequent application of decals. I chose cyan paint as the base color for all lenses. The funnel green color and shine is provided by the paint varnish Crystal Periscope Green. When all decorative elements, handles, wires, lenses are painted, the tank is ready for the first layer of varnish and some decals. So to begin with, I cover the whole model with aqua gloss clear varnish. For greater integration of the decals, I'm using model chemistry. First mark Saturn-Neo for installing the decals, and mark Soft-Neo for better welding of them. After the chemicals has dried, we can apply a second layer of varnish, this time Ultra Matte Lucky. Let's start highlighting the jointing and lines with washes. I use Model Chemistry Blue Wash for Panzer Gray. This is an enamel product, so I use a synthetic brush. A nuance of using wash on a 3D printed model is the presence of steps and thresholds on a seemingly smooth surface. But with the proper brush it is easy to control the application of wash both in the recesses and around the protruding elements of the body. Applying the washes is a painstaking process, but the result is a model with clearly defined shadows and details. Don't forget about the unattached elements, the crane beams and the course bolter, they also need washes. Metal parts are highlighted with black wash. After the chemical has dried, we need to protect our work with a layer of varnish. Now we can start creating wear in the tank, and as usual I do the chips first. Using a sponge we apply several small dots at once, which we later combine with a brush. With light paint, grey highlight, we create the effect of chipped paint in those places where such chips can occur as a result of the natural use of the vehicle and damage received. On top of light chips we apply chipping paint, which imitates the effect of rust formed as a result of paint chipping down to the metal. Note that we do not apply dark paint over all light chips, only to the largest ones, only those places that need to be emphasized. There may be a few such places, such as bottom of the hull, chassis, hatch covers, crane beams and wheel, etc. Using the chipping technique, it is also convenient to mask some defects that may be present on the printed model and which could not be removed at the assembly stage. When the work with the chips is finished, we can coat the tank again with matte varnish. Before weathering and aging the model, I glue the crane beams to the body and install the chain. I found out that it is easier to install the chain from the inside out, through the prepared internal hole, then adjust the required length and secure it with a wire spacer. I wind the chain onto the roller wheel of the crane beam, install a signal washer painted in yellow and black stripes, and attach a hook to the end of the chain. Then I connect the edges of the chain on the hook with wire and mask them inside signal washer. At the end of the assembly I glued the bottom plate of the body into place. The last stage of painting process is weathering. I did not use pigments or mud effects on this model and only applied stains of rust, fuel and oil. Just a few touches of the brush and the last layer varnish, and we come to the end. Work on this model is finished. Thank you for watching, good luck with your models and see you soon.